Didn't Sam Seder talk to that guy today? Mark Bankston, yeah.
Partner at the law firm Farrar and Ball, who is, I believe, lead counsel. Sam Seder, Emma Vigland on the Majority Report. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the program Mark Bankston. He is a partner at the law firm of Farrar and Ball.
This is the guy who took down Alex Jones and also went up against Elon Musk in the defamation case and made him and his lawyer look like buffoons, and is now going after Elon Musk's lawyers for practicing in a state where he's not licensed to practice.
And Mark, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. You seem like you're extremely busy this week.
Yeah, I've had a pretty busy week this week, that's for sure.
All right. Now, I know you can't really talk too much about this, but just broadly, what has been reported at the very least, or what can you just tell us about this case involving Elon Musk?
Well, I can tell you that, the court ordered discovery in that case. We ended up taking his deposition, as a lot of people have seen. There is some pending sanctions.
Yeah, I know, Iron Mage, but I had to turn off Enhancer for YouTube because it's broken with the current YouTube update.
In that case, and we're also going to have a hearing on the motion to dismiss on April 22nd.
And what is the case about? Like, what is your client claiming?
This one is strange. It really is. Do you even think of the idea that one of the richest and most influential people on the planet accused a 22-year-old Jewish college student of being a neo-Nazi involved in a neo-Nazi brawl in Portland, Oregon, which is completely absurd and was based on some very dubious tweets from some anonymous weirdos on Twitter. And Mr. Musk decided to spread that to the world. And Ben Brody's not going to let that happen.
Great. And I appreciate your catching us up with that. You know, at one point it's the I don't know if the word is irony, but it is fascinating to watch this guy who bought Twitter essentially made it possible to almost make it impossible to use Twitter as a source to validate things, keeps getting tripped up by essentially what he wrought on himself.
Yeah, it might not seem this way anymore, and it used to be the case more before, but Twitter used to be the best place to go if you were interested in breaking news or anything related to journalism, because I'm not saying people didn't used to lie. Of course they did. There were always liars and trolls and what have you, but the culture of the site much better reflected this, like, breaking news, what's happening, go right here, take a look now. Whereas now, anytime there's a trending topic, whether or not the topic is real or like, right now, the topics are being determined by AI that fucks up constantly and just says things that are incorrect. But even before that, you would click on a trending topic of something that's actually happening, and the top posts in that topic will be blue checks, like reposting footage from the Syrian civil war and saying that that's actually footage of Iran striking America right now, you know, because they're looking to get like $3 of Twitter ad revenue.
That's true.
By making Twitter a much less reliable source of information that he spreads, I find somewhat fascinating. But you've got a lot of stuff on your plate in terms of like false information. I mentioned before you came on that you are representing a plaintiff, Mauricio Garcia, in a case. Tell us about that case.
Sure. Most of y'all remember last year, during last summer, there was a neo-Nazi shooter down in Allen, Texas at the outlet.
I remember.
Killed quite a few people down there. It was a really, really nasty event. In the aftermath of that, the law enforcement released...
Mark Bagson's actually just suing a bunch of people. Okay, I can't open Twitter links, Jehovah's Thickness.
The name of the shooter and his date of birth.
You have a non-Twitter? Can you link to the article that's in that Twitter link, probably?
Several media organizations, sort of in their haste to try to get a story out, labeled the wrong person. Not even the right birth date of my client, Mauricio Garcia, put his face out to the world. And for a lot of these organizations, it was because my client has a very Chicano appearance. He is a Dallas lowrider, and he does not look like the kind of...
Now that right there is a Texan statement. Hell yes. This is what the link says, Vaush. Today, my co-counsel Greg Adler and I filed suit against Fox, Newsmax, Univision, Timcast, Steven Crowder, Owen Schroyer, Simon Adaba, and Hollywood Unlocked for falsely portraying our innocent client as a neo-Nazi mass shooter. Wait, is that the same thing that we were literally just looking at? Is that the same larger article that we were just looking at a second ago? Yes? Oh, well, the connection, the connection. Man, this guy's going ham. I hope this guy has enough money for security.
Mexican American who would sympathize with white supremacy. And so a lot of these right-wing organizations wanted to put his face out there to say, hey, look at this Mexican guy.
Okay, in fairness, there are a lot of Mexican Americans who are Nazi. It's been known to happen.
He's not a Nazi. Look at this guy. And as a result, I mean, millions of people saw my client as a monster. And this was done by a big variety of news organizations, including Fox News, Newsmax, Tim Pool, Steven Crowder,
Yep.
Owen Schroyer, Hollywood Unlocked, Simon Ateba, and Today News Africa. I mean, we have a large group of defendants who all basically, ignored basic journalistic precautions. And as a result, this poor young man...
Now, normally I would say that this lawsuit has basically no chance of going anywhere. But as I understand it, when it comes to defamation, the standards are different for public figures, which is normally what we're talking about. But the guy they defamed wasn't a public figure. He was just a random guy they selected, which means that you won't need the actual malice standard. All you have to do is prove harm, which is, much easier to do.
His mom was getting calls from people they've known all their lives saying, hey, I'm so sorry about your son. I'm so sorry your son is a neo-Nazi killer.
Oh my God.
People are always telling this to my mom,
His mom could correct some of those when they'd call, but that family's just sitting there thinking about all the people in their lives who have known them throughout their lives, who aren't going to call, who will be too embarrassed to ever call. And it has torn this poor kid up. He just feels so guilty about what it's done to the family.
And do you know where the conflation of your client with the actual neo-Nazi shooter originated from?
It was on social media, and it looks to be on Twitter is where it first started.
Gotcha.
And then, it was originally just social media people getting it wrong, right? Having the wrong identity. And then it was these commercial media organizations who are expected to have institutional guardrails against this sort of stuff. I mean, photo verification is not a challenging thing to do as a journalist. If you can't confirm the provenance of a picture and know what it is and where it came from, you just can't put that up.
Okay, but autoplay on YouTube, Rakomed, refers to automatically playing another video once this one is done. See? This is the autoplay switch right here. Right here, see? Autoplay is off. But that's not the same as what I'm talking about. What I mean is the video automatically playing when you open the tab, rather than opening with pause, which isn't available as like a default YouTube feature.
To the world, especially if you're going to try to say it depicts a neo-Nazi mass murderer. And so really, there's not much we can do about just random people on social media, but these commercial enterprises that are profiting from the provision of news, they have to use reasonable care. And what we've seen is...
Wow, it's on Firefox? Is that true? Is that true? It's on Firefox? Oh my God, that's crazy, guys. Wow, thank you. Wow. 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 Firefox? It's on Firefox? Wow. Oh my God. It's on Firefox.
That the bigger organizations, like in this case, Fox and Univision, they've just done away with their institutional guardrails because it's just costing them too much money. And then you have these new... people like Crowder and Poole who are running these low-cost operations who never cared about the institutional guardrails to begin with. So the entire media apparatus is failing from top to bottom. This isn't a problem that's just isolated to one kind of media.
It makes me think of Spotify and some of the sort of lies that come out of Rogan's show. He's smart enough not to maybe have these lies focused on one person enough so that somebody could bring an action. It's sort of just like, who has standing in these issues.
I think there needs to be like a defamation day of reckoning because people have gotten way too comfortable on the far right just openly lying. Like the examples that the right will use to say, the other is shit like, oh, calling Kyle Rittenhouse a murderer. And it's like, well, no, he's not a murderer, actually. He was acquitted of murder. He just killed them, but lawfully. Okay, great, whatever. But like the right will just it just deliberately and maliciously, knowingly just say whatever. Remember how like basically every time there's a mass shooting now, somebody will post a trans person and be like, this is the shooter, and the far right will be like, oh, someone needs to put a stop to these transgenders. you know, and but it's like, and they don't think it's real. They know it's not real. They know it's bullshit. They just don't care. And it's gotten to the point now where even major news companies are doing this shit too, you know?
In terms of like Spotify having to take responsibility for these things. But the thing that really stuck out for me in reading your plaintiff's petition is in each of these instances, it seems, and I think I read all of the defendants, the outlet, I mean, because we get stuff wrong here. We're very cautious about putting pictures out. I don't know if we ever do.
Yeah, and it should be noted, by the way, I'm not talking about getting stuff wrong or like comedic overstatement or like I'm not talking about like stuff that I would say is probably to a large extent part and parcel, not only to being like an internet guy or whatever, but even like news orgs have to make retractions. Like all that stuff is normal. What I'm talking about is this like this newfound belief on the part of these organizations like Fox News or Newsmax or whatever, that they can just say anything with no consequences, you know? We saw the consequences of the defamation lawsuit from the voting machine, the voting tally company. What's the Dominion? Yeah, the Dominion voting machine lawsuits against Newsmax for billions of dollars.
Do that, really, frankly. But we get stuff wrong, a variety of things. I mean, but we're really careful with identities, I have to say. But be that as it may.
Just try it. I tried it to make sure. Racco Med, I've been trying to do it for like a minute now while we've been watching, but I don't know where to do the thing you're saying to do. You say add a site. How do you add a site? What does that mean?
People make mistakes. But in each of these instances, it seems like there was an opportunity for these outlets to correct themselves, and they didn't.
Okay, right.
And they didn't, or to the extent that they even did any effort, they never did a retraction.
Right. Most of them just
really strikes me as like almost like doubly bad.
It is. And in Texas, it's bizarre because if they had just apologized and issued a retraction, they wouldn't face punitive damages. But they all made the decision in this case not to apologize for certain broadcasts. And, in some of those, it makes sense. Some of them, are just not going to respond to you. Some of them did. And we had discussions and they deleted the articles quietly, but didn't print retractions. Or you have in the case of Univision, who, when we went to them, they originally just told us, oh, we just did it on our streaming service. And, nobody really watches that. And then we found out, no, the whole time they had been broadcasting it to millions of people on their primetime shows and didn't print a retraction for it.
That's my excuse, by the way, whenever I fuck something up or get something wrong. It's just a streaming service. I'm just a little birthday boy. I'm just a little I'm wearing glasses. You wouldn't punch a guy with glasses with a defamation suit, would you? You wouldn't defamation suit a guy with glasses, would you? Oh, gee willikers. That fist of yours is raised mighty high. You wouldn't slap somebody with glasses with a defamation suit, would you? Oh.
Of that. It really is strange. And what was really strange is that most of these defendants were represented by counsel when we were talking to them. The only one that wasn't was Tim Pool, who thought that he could negotiate with me without an attorney.
Oh my gosh.
And he didn't get a retraction either.
Well,
I want to hear about Tim Pool, Mark, but I mean, Tim is also very specific. Like his issue here is that the actual shooter, and this is what All
right. I can't watch any more than this because if I do, I'm going to feel like I'm content stealing. A lot of this is me content stealing and I feel bad a little bit. If you want to watch more of that, then go watch their livestream VOD or wait for the video to be published because that livestream VOD hasn't been cut up into videos yet. Oh, come on. Nope. I respect the majority report, And I'm sure they're doing very well, like monetarily, but I don't want to I don't want to be that guy. I don't watch the majority report. They're boring. I don't think they're boring at all. Not even a little bit, really. I mean, they might be boring compared to me in the sense that they don't make constant sex jokes or like pop culture references or whatever. But as like news programs go, I think they're very entertaining,